Hello guys! When a crime occurs anywhere in the world, we always hear a well-known phrase: we are waiting for the results of forensic medicine. As if the results of forensic medicine has the final say in everything, and it is the one that determines whether this person will be prosecuted or not, and did this person steal or not, and other accusations that forensic medicine has the final word in. But what is the role of forensic medicine that makes its opinion so important? And how can it even detect crimes?
But first, welcome to this video from one of the Curious Knights.
Sherlock Holmes. In 1887, the Scottish writer and physician Arthur Doyle published a collection of stories about a character called Sherlock Holmes, a detective who was used by the police in complex cases to solve them. Holmes was able to solve these cases through some skills such as logical thinking and the ability to relate events and discover simple evidence that is difficult to notice, through which he concluded the solution of the case. What Holmes used to do is also what forensic medicine used to do, but in a slightly limited way, because this branch of science was weak, and there was not enough resources and capabilities to make it scientifically reliable in crucial matters, such as criminal cases. Rather, it was not completely relied upon, nor was it even useful to take its opinion as conclusive evidence. And a country like the United States of America did not recognize forensic medicine until 1959, and this is despite its existence before this date by about a century and a half. Determination of the time of death. During the period in which the United States of America recognized forensic medicine was developed in a way that the world could trust and rely on. But here, a question arises. How could forensic medicine do that? I mean, what steps were taken to be able to discover mysterious matters and know whether this is a crime or not? As soon as forensic medicine is informed of a murder, the first thing specialists think about is determining the time of death. Because if we determine the time when the crime was committed and follow the path of the deceased, a large part of the case will almost be solved. But I wonder, how do we know the time of the crime when we didn't even see while it was happening? Doctors start examining three things in the body. The first thing is to examine the blood pool. The coroner knows that the blood will not circulate in the body because the heart has stopped. This means that the blood will collect in the place towards which the body is leaning. If the body is moved to another place, the blood would move from the place it was in and go to the place the body was leaning towards. If this happened, then the dead person died less than 12 hours ago, because after 12 hours, the blood will clot and will not move when the dead person is moved from his place. The second step is muscle stiffness examination, which is a slightly more accurate step. The body generally needs energy for the muscles to remain relaxed. Since the deceased has no energy, his muscles begin, 2 hours after death, to harden, and his body hardens and stays in this state for 30 hours. If the body's muscles are still relaxed, then this dead person died within 2 hours. The third examination method, which is considered the most accurate examination, is the measurement of body temperature. When someone dies, their body temperature drops by 1.5 degrees Celsius every hour. Since the normal human body temperature is approximately 37 degrees Celsius, if the coroner found that the body of the deceased had a temperature of 34, then he would have been dead 2 hours ago. In addition, the doctor takes into account the temperature of the air. If the weather was cold, this makes a difference in the speed that the body is losing heat. Rather, forensic medicine even analyzes the type of bacteria or worms that may have appeared in the body of the deceased to determine through them the time of death. After all these examinations, forensic medicine comes out with the famous sentence that this deceased died at something o'clock. The deceased is murdered or committed suicide. While determining the time of death, doctors also determine whether the deceased was killed in a crime or not, because if there's no crime, there will be no perpetrator to detect. From this question, the doctors begin to analyze the body, dissect it, and track any signs of resistance, scratching, beating, strangulation, and so on. They also begin to examine the corpse to make sure that there is no drug, alcohol, or any kind of toxins and overdoses in the drugs present in the body. And if they don't find anything, they start searching in the place where the corpse is. They may find, for example, the instrument by which the crime was committed. Then they take it and examine it to trace the perpetrator by fingerprint analysis or DNA analysis. Therefore, when a crime occurs, the first thing that the police do is put yellow tape around the site. Don't enter the criminal scene. Or close the apartment where the crime took place so that no one can enter and change anything in the place. After forensic medicine performs these tests, it begins to track the victim's itinerary and unloads all the cameras surrounding the place where the crime occurred, so that they can then determine if someone is watching the victim and following her, so that he can begin to be accused. Crimes of the disappearance of the victim. Many times, disappearances are reported, or someone says he doubts this person was killed, or that this person entered his apartment and has since disappeared, or any of the reports that contain disappearances of the victims. Forensic medicine plays a big and accurate role as well in revealing the existence of a crime or not. This is done by examining the house where people suspect that a crime has taken place. Forensic medicine is not interested in unloading the cameras, but it is more interested in revealing the presence of blood at the scene of a crime. Even if the criminal wiped the blood well and wiped the crime scene and there was no blood drop in the house, which is considered something almost impossible. And this is because forensics are doing a special test through which they can reveal, did this place have blood on it, and was it wiped or not? This is done by using two chemical compounds, phenolphthalein and hydrogen peroxide. The coroner places them where he suspects the crime took place, and if the phenol compound turns pink, then this place had blood on it, and it was wiped. This is because blood contains hemoglobin, which is considered a catalyst in this reaction. Phenol is not the only method used to track blood, and there are other compounds that are used through which forensic medicine can determine whether there was a murder or not. And through it, they can discover the crime instrument. And through the same test, if they find something in the house like a knife or a key, and they find blood on it, then they will also find fingerprints on it. Besides, they can guess the killer's behavior. Is he suffering from a specific psychological disorder or not? And by tracking the crime he committed and his actions, forensic medicine can determine the psychological aspect of the criminal. Sometimes this result helps forensic medicine because it narrows the scope of research. Forensic errors. Although forensic medicine has many branches and combines many sciences, it has unforgivable mistakes. A sensitive field such as forensic medicine was supposed to be more accurate with some cases in which the fate of people and entire families is determined. In 2015, the FBI conducted a study looking into 268 criminal cases in which hair and DNA evidence were used to convict the suspect, and the study found that 96% of the samples analyzed were misanalyzed, which is considered a disaster by all standards. And if you're amazed at how forensic medicine can make a mistake in something as delicate as DNA analysis or a fingerprint, one of the forensic doctors explained how a person could have a hair at a crime scene when he has never been to a place like that. For example, a person is sitting in a chair somewhere, and then a hair falls from his head onto this chair. After that, someone comes to sit in the same place, and his hair sticks to the clothing of this person, who in turn will commit the crime. And the hair of the first person falls from the clothing of the perpetrator at the crime scene. This is for the issue of the hair. As for the issue of fingerprints, the final result usually comes from the point of view of the forensic doctor, who may have been confused or did not analyze the fingerprint very accurately. That is why Dr. Ross says that forensic medicine needs instruments that are more accurate than the instruments available today. Until now, we do not have enough data or equipment to let us know when and how the hair mentioned in this investigation came before we asked, whose hair is this?